And I now call the member for Aston.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, you would think that with a government that is plagued with scandal, a government that has its Prime Minister on her knees, that they would not come into this place and deliver a motion which reeks of such hubris. You would think that a government which is just asking this parliament to increase the debt limit to a record $300 billion would not come into this parliament and move a motion which claims their economic success. But this is exactly what this motion does. This government has the temerity to come in here and claim, haven't we been so successful? Haven't Australians been so lucky to have us? And reading between the lines, it actually says, haven't Australians never ever been better off than they are today? Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, Australians are smarter than this government because they know the real truth in relation to the economy. To start with, they know that we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to Greece and to Spain and to Italy, countries which are on the brink of collapse. They know that their real-life experiences on a day-to-day basis shows that prices are going up exponentially while their wages are only going up by 2 or 3% per annum, and therefore it's making it tougher and tougher from a cost of living perspective. And they know that if you're paying $8 or $9 billion in interest payments alone, which is what we are now doing as a nation, that you don't have the economy under control. Madam Deputy Speaker, it contains an enormous amount of hubris, this motion, and for this government to come in and tell Australians that they should be thankful for their economic performance. Let us remind, Madam Deputy Speaker, in this time that we have available, exactly what the government has done in relation to the economy. And let's just look at 2 or 3 key measures. First of all, let's look at taxes. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, since this government was elected in the end of 2007, there have been 26 taxes which have been introduced or increased. 26. Almost every facet of our society. And of course, that is before the granddaddy of them all, the carbon tax, is introduced come the 1st of July. Let's look at the expenditure side of the equation. As the member for Mayo pointed out, expenditure has increased by $100 billion per annum since the Rudd government was elected. When the Rudd government was elected, the government was spending $270 billion. The government's now spending $370 billion per annum and climbing. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, with that extra $100 billion, what do you think that has gone towards? Do we see brand new roads? Do we see all this rail infrastructure? Do we see the port bottlenecks being addressed? Madam Deputy Speaker, we don't see that. We see cars stuck in traffic. We see bottlenecks at the end of the Eastern Freeway. We see the Rowville rail link still waiting to be completed. We see ports up in Queensland not being developed, Madam Deputy Speaker. But what we have seen, of course, is an enormous amount of money wasted. Gone. Enormous amount of money wasted on pink bats, on overpriced school halls, on green loan programs, on all sorts of other programs which have frankly been wasted, Madam Deputy Speaker. So that's on the expenditure side of the equation. And when you net those two out and look at the debt side of the ledger, then you see that this government inherited a $20 billion surplus. They inherited $70 billion in the bank. And now we have had 4 of the biggest deficits in Australian political history, back to back, and we have net debt of $145 billion. Now, this government likes to claim that it's going to reach a surplus next financial year. We'll wait to see if they're going to actually deliver that, because they said that this year's deficit was going to be only $12 billion and it ended up being $44 billion. So their claim of $1.5 billion has to be seen to actually be believed. But even if they reach that, it would take a full 100 years of those surpluses to pay back the debt that they have left us. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, that's the economic legacy of this government. That is the economic legacy: increased taxes, wasteful expenditure, record debt that will take years to pay off, and flatlined productivity. And so next time the government puts up a motion like this, next time it asks itself why the Australian people are not thanking for it, it should look at its record.
Expired.